help stay protected. Stay with Plavix.
The latest now in our series on battleground states, we're taking a look at Virginia. It has 13 electoral votes for this election. For 10 straight presidential contests, 10 in a row, those have gone to Republicans. The last Democrat to win that state, Lyndon Johnson, back in '64. But right now, things are looking different, according to an average of polls from RealClearPolitics.com. Now, this isn't from one poll. This is put all the polls together, average them. Barack Obama has 51% flat. John McCain, 44.5%. Joining us now is Jordan Lieberman, publisher of Politics Magazine. Good to see you, Jordan. Thank you.
Good to be with you, Shepard.
To what do we attribute this change in the polls in Virginia?
Well, a couple things. Really, the collapse of the Bush coalition. You've got evangelical Christians in the southern and western part. You've got military families on the eastern shore and the Tidewater. You've got kind of the high-tech sector in the northern area where the housing market has really collapsed.
And that northern area is one that you've suggested that Barack Obama needs to get up and work.
Well, he sure does. It's really up for grabs. The great example is Loudoun County, which is kind of about a half-hour's drive west of Washington, D.C. This is a place that is kind of a swing county. It's the home of mega churches and McMansions and, and Chick-fil-A. It's the kind of place that Barack Obama should do at least break even.
Yeah, you look at a poll like this out of Virginia, and if you're one who's followed politics for a while and somebody just plopped it down in front of you, you'd go, well, there's another examples of how screwy the polls are. We've seen the polls screwy for years now. What's to make us believe that this thing out of Virginia is right?
Well, there is going to be, at some level, a Bradley effect. And, in Virginia you call it the Doug Wilder effect, where his numbers did come out a little bit lower than he expected. But, we're talking about, 7, 8, 9-point difference in the polls. And even if there is a racial issue here, the support for the Republican base and McCain's enthusiasm level is lower than it needs to be.
And why is it lower than it needs to be? Is it about the fact that McCain isn't as conservative as many in Virginia? Is it about Governor Palin? What is it?
It's a perfect storm, Shepard. The Democratic Party is making huge inroads, especially in the northern part of the state. We got the governor. We've got pretty soon both senators. And then on the other side, the Republican base is really is just not enthusiastic as it needs to be.
So many more people in Virginia now identify themselves as Democrats. But if you delve really deep into that question, it's more about all the new people they've added who are really 25 and under. Those are the ones, and nobody is convinced me yet that they're actually going to come vote.
Sure is. And, the models that we're looking at where it shows Barack Obama clobbering John McCain expect a 75 to perhaps an 80% turnout across the country, which would be really unheard of. Historically, we're talking a high turnout race would be in the mid-60% range. So if Barack Obama doesn't reach to perhaps 70% turnout in Virginia, these numbers could be wrong.
And in the end, John McCain could win that state. And if turnout levels are low up and down the East Coast, that's huge for John McCain, isn't it?
Quite possible, yeah. And, Virginia will be, if Virginia goes to John McCain, this will be a long night because, it's one of the first states that really indicate where this race is going.
All right. It's good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I got to tell you, though, anybody who sees these polls and thinks this thing is over, I mean, maybe they weren't around in 2000. Maybe they were napping for a few years.
Yeah.
It's not over till we actually get up there and